I'm René Carayol. I've made my fortune in business. I've mentored some of the world's most successful leaders. Now I'm going to show you how to get the life you really want. We've all fantasized about giving up our jobs and following our dreams. So what's stopping us? 85% of British adults say the monthly mortgage payment is the one thing that stands between them and freedom. Your mortgage payment ties you to the daily grind for 25 years. But what if it were possible to pay off your mortgage in just 2 years? I've been working with families, couples and singles from across the UK in one of television's most ambitious experiments. For 2 years, they've had my advice, motivation and business contacts. But now their time is up. So, did they pay off their mortgage in 2 years?
Tonight, Arthur and Mary Holliman from Harlow in Essex. They've been married for 40 years and have 3 grown-up children. Arthur's a printer who loves nothing more than to sail his boat. Mary is an alternative therapist specialising in massage. You'd think they'd be winding down for Arthur's retirement in 3 years' time, but they're not.
How do you slow this thing?
Instead, they'll be accelerating as they try to pay off their mortgage.
I'm really excited, Arthur. Really well done.
You're really excited. Great.
There'll be twists and turns.
It's like sort of posh stripping.
If René was here now, he'd have the ump with you for thinking small and talking like that.
Disagreements. Mary, don't argue about it.
But I think it's left me feeling more anxious than I thought it would.
This has been a huge strain on Mary and myself.
Arthur and Mary have a mortgage of £95,000 and 10 grand on credit cards. That's a total debt of £105,000. They have a combined income of £48,000. If they can pay off all their debt in 2 years, they'll save themselves at least £100,000 in interest. Their reasons for wanting to clear their debt are very special. It all started a year ago when Arthur had a medical scare, and that made them rethink their lives.
I don't think anything prepares you for the point where the guy on the other side of the desk is saying to you, I'm sorry, you've got cancer.
It was right, how do we now go forward to spend the rest of our lives?
So much to dream about now, aren't you? Sweet dreams then.
Months of medical treatment followed for Arthur. It was tough, but Arthur pulled through. Doctors gave him a clean bill of health. So they celebrated with a once-in-a-lifetime holiday to Egypt, where they made an impulse buy.
What's driving you to want to pay off your mortgage within 2 years?
Well, it's not actually this mortgage. It's a mortgage that we've now got because for some time now we've been looking to buy property abroad. And only about a month ago we had a lovely holiday in Egypt and found a villa that we think is going to suit us for when I retire.
Bought on impulse?
Totally out of character because we're quite cautious.
The experiment runs from January for 2 years, and by the look of their bills I can see where they have to start. They're going to have to minimise their outgoings.
I don't know where I'd wear it, but I'm going to get it.
Which in Mary's case might prove a challenge.
I wouldn't say Mary is totally irresponsible, but she has no concept of money.
I obviously should have married someone quite wealthy. I
I wish you had as well.
I've had a look at your bills. Mary spends £200 per month on clothes. If you could live on £116 per week, you would save £35,000 in 2 years. How can you resist that?
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
That is a lot of money.
It's a heck of a lot of money.
It is.
Do you think, Mary, you can actually live for 2 years without buying a dress?
I could. I've got enough clothes to last me for 5 years, but it will be hard.
Maybe some
Ginger.
ginger.
And maybe...
They start their new austere budget with enthusiasm,
Why?
even if Mary's still in the habit of throwing money away.
No, I'm not having nothing to do with it.
Mary thinks they can raise extra cash by getting jobs as cleaners at Arthur's sailing club. But Arthur knows that Mary may have great ideas, but she has trouble sticking to them.
I think Mary actually will probably get fed up with this before I do. It'll be a case of, what, should we go down there today and do the cleaning? Oh, well, can't quite make it today. Going over to Sonia's for lunch.
Arthur's proved right. After just 2 months, they give up. But Mary's money-making ideas keep coming.
I just wondered if it would be possible to, for a couple of years, rent this place out and have someone take us in, really.
Of course, if it came off, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
£18,000 in 2 years, in fact. Mary's advertising in the Lady magazine to see if they can find a situation where they can live rent-free as live-in housekeepers. While they tackle the budget, I need them to start phase 2 of the operation, maximising their income. The real driver behind this, the way we're going to pay off this mortgage, we're going to find some business initiatives that's going to bring in a load of revenue, and within 2 years.
I really want to do it, so with some help it would be great.
Mary's given the business world a try, twice before, and didn't reach the heights she'd hoped for.
That's been the problem with my 2 previous businesses. The excitement, the buzz is in creating it, is the concept, getting it all together, working out a formula that works, and then the excitement goes.
This time it'll be different, because Arthur's promised that whatever business they decide to pursue, they'll do it together. They're testing the water by wrecking a speed dating night to see if this could be a business for them.
It has changed my opinion of speed dating, and I think now it could be just such a fun way of meeting people. I'd like to go along to one where there's older people now.
Yeah.
I might have to book myself in.
Saga.
But like the cleaning job at the sailing club, Mary's enthusiasm is short-lived. What have you decided to drop?
Speed
Well, I can guess. I knew you'd say
Speed
speed dating.
Speed dating is out. That was definitely a no-no. And it was never going to happen, and it's not going to happen, so...
We did look at it, but we decided it wasn't for us.
At least there's some potential good news. They've received a reply from the advertisement in the Lady magazine.
They offered us the job, and the day before we went, that evening, they had a phone call from an old housekeeper. She wasn't happy where she was. Did they have a situation? She said, I'm really, really just so sorry, but I've said yes because we know her, she wants a job. And so, but we felt...
How did that make you feel at the moment when you realised they were taking someone else?
Suicidal.
Arthur was really
I was
upset.
really upset.
The loss of the job means another 18 grand going begging. But instead of starting again, they decide to blow some of their hard-earned savings on a holiday to France.
Have everyone clip
In black or...
brown?
Yes.
The budget's clearly proving to be a problem. So Arthur's come up with a radical solution. He's putting his beloved dinghy on the market.
I'm showing to Mary that I'm being serious. I know she's going to have to make sacrifices, you know, so that's my bit for the moment, so she's got to match it. It's a bit of a game of poker, really. That's on the table.
A couple of weeks ago I went to a jewellery party. I didn't really want to go, but went along out of interest, and I was really impressed. I ended up actually buying quite a lot of jewellery.
She may have, once again, been distracted from the budget, but Mary's purchases have given her an idea.
I've actually started to set up a company with a view to selling it.
Wow.
I'm thinking initially of testing the market because I don't know anything about jewellery, really, or the jewellery market, so I've probably gone about it the wrong way. But because it is such good quality, and it seems that it would be viable if you could sell it in large enough quantities, you could make hundreds of thousands in a couple of years.
Start small and think big.
The way we run the company is through parties like this, and this is how we can keep the price down.
Mary's decided to trial her new products by holding a jewellery party. I can see a new side to her. She's enthused and has a gift for selling.
It's designer costume jewellery, but if there's anything you wanted to ask, please ask. And also, no, don't feel pressured just because L'Oreal's asked you around. You're not here. You haven't got to buy anything.
The punters are impressed with Mary's friendly sales technique, and they're happy to part with their money. With Mary testing the water, Arthur's decided to make sacrifice number 2.
It's my contribution to the pot. I'm saying to Mary, look, I'm getting rid of the thing that I love, so I'm being serious about this. I'm enjoying it while I've still got it, but I will be relieved once it's gone, because that's almost like a waypoint to get to.
Arthur's also keeping his promise about the business. He's decided to join Mary's fledgling jewellery company. They've arranged a pitch at their local Harvey shopping centre, trading under the name Candy Crystal.
Are you confident about this?
Yes, I'm confident about it because I knew that the jewellery would sell. I wasn't quite sure who it would sell to, and I'm still not absolutely sure of the vehicle for selling it.
They decide the best vehicle is a website, so they invite a local designer to see how much it might cost.
You're looking at roughly around £2,500 to actually get the site up and running and working.
It is more expensive than I thought it would be for sort of 5 pages.
I think we'll have to have a talk about it, I think.
The pictures will be much cheaper. Arthur ropes in some students from a photography college to get some really professional shots. So now the website's working, this is going to be flying for next year, will it?
Oh, well, I hope so.
We hope so.
And it's really quite satisfying that what we set down as the master plan, we have performed absolutely to the T.
Fabulous.
The kitchen table is now like the packing department, you know, so we have to have breakfast around the boxes.
At the close of their first year, Mary and Arthur have the potential to reach for the skies. Their total debt is £105,000. Selling Arthur's car and his boat will pay off $6,600. Halfway through the experiment, their budget should have saved them around 17 grand. They've only managed 4,500, mainly due to spending lapses. But they have invested 3 grand on the website and bought jewellery stock with a retail value of 12,000. Can they return to the budget, save 17,500 in year 2, and sell the stock around 7 times over to pay for their Egyptian villa? It's January of year 2. So welcome to the start of a new year, and a tough year. This is going to be the real make or break year. And I'm sure everyone I'm speaking to so far is really focused on this year. But not everyone's going to make it.
I know, but we are going to give it our best shot, René.
And I know
promise.
you will. I know you will.
Aren't we, darling?
And let's hope our best shot's enough.
It will be.
Good.
The early signs are good. After 2 weeks running live, the website's not only brought sales, but an interesting opportunity.
We've done about £1,300 worth of orders in a couple of weeks.
Did you get any offers of help?
Quite a large proportion of these emails are from people that want to be able to get involved in the company. Can we sell under the Candy Crystal heading, under the company name? So that's what we're doing at the moment.
How do you feel about that?
Part of me is slightly like protective and possessive, and but I realise in the time scale of things we don't have an option.
Having 10, 20 people selling with something coming back in has got to be worth considering. Agents selling their jewellery, nice idea. Anything else on the radar?
Loads and loads of things, loads of ideas.
Really, Mary?
I've thought about having a piece of jewellery designed for a charity. We've thought about a fashion show.
Yes. Any other ideas, Mary?
I've thought about lingerie. So I think lingerie might go in quite nicely with the Candy Crystal image, especially if it's men-buying presents. This is the trouble, though. I start to sort of run ahead with ideas before I've tied up.
Mary, I think I've noticed this. The danger in all of this is that you become defocused from the major programme here,
Yes.
which is your jewellery, which is Candy Crystal. I can't fault their energy and commitment, but 1 or 2 doubts linger. Arthur and Mary have a bewildering number of ideas for the new year. I have a concern that there's only 2 of them, and they can't do them all simultaneously. I also have a second concern. Last year, Mary said to me she'd started a number of businesses in the past with lots of enthusiasm, and then she loses interest. I hope Candy Crystal is going to be the exception. They may have had trouble sticking to ideas in the past, but this time their ambition shows no limits. They've arranged to meet executives at a television shopping channel to see if Candy Crystal can make a mark on the small screen.
Mary Hollyman. We've got you. And this is my husband, Arthur Hollyman.
Have a good day. The amount of money that we need to raise, we have to think in these sorts of terms, don't we? It's no good, possibly not, no good us thinking market stalls. You've got to think the universe and beyond.
Mary's sales pitch is fine-tuned.
We're in the process of having some more jewellery actually designed to our own designs as well at the moment. Most of the jewellery is rhodium plated, which obviously has universal appeal. And then we've got some which we consider more of a sort of a retro but very the modern look.
Actually, these items are familiar to me. I know the supplier, so I think the price better than from you, I think so.
If you're buying direct from the factory yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be, definitely.
Because of our experience, we know so many suppliers from all over the world.
I'm sure you do.
Great. A real pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The rise of Candy Crystal suffers its first setback.
I'm relieved, actually, because I just think we're moving into a league that it's not for us. To finance it, we would be taking such a hell of a risk to do this sort of thing.
If René was here now, he'd have the hump with you for thinking small and talking like that.
No.
He said to us at the start, think big, be brave, go for it.
If they'd said...
And now you're saying,
no, you're misconstruing. If they'd said, oh yes, that's really nice, come back with maybe 30 lines, and we want 20,000 peaches of each. No, we're not ready for this. This is outside our league at the moment.
Arthur's right, I do have the hump. Not because their pitch has failed, but because I detect a lack of confidence in Mary and a reluctance to take any risks. They retreat to their local shopping centre, which is safely in their comfort zone.
How the great have fallen. Yeah, from television personality to the Harvey Centre, but that's the way it goes. I think this is one of our strengths, that we can actually take these knocks that come to us and still come back fighting.
Just when I start to doubt their ambition, there's an interesting development. Their daughter Sonia has joined the team.
How did this all come about?
They were reaching a point where they had a problem with the cash flow. I could see how the business could move on, and so I was quite happy to invest some money, I think £6,000, into Candy Crystal. And it was just nice to support them, really.
We're getting three things here now. We're getting a financial commitment. We're getting a new set of skills and capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're also getting the full support.
To keep it in the family is even better, you know.
Arthur did say, I don't want you and Sonia ganging up, because we do sometimes, don't we? But only when we know we're right.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Sonia calls the first Candy Crystal board meeting a few days later.
You know, in the past I've discussed business ventures with my mum, not so much my dad. I don't know how working with him is going to work, because in a way we're very, very similar. Growing up we used to have so many arguments because we're both quite fiery and impetuous, I think. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to get on working with him, but my mum, I think it's going to be a real pleasure. How are you doing?
Oh, good to see you.
You do. Come in, it's so cold.
Back, Mary.
No, I'm not.
Hello, doggy.
Hey, son.
How are you doing?
Hello, friend.
Drinking.
Sonia's had a good think about the agency idea and the sort of kit a typical Candy Crystal agent might need.
They've got a roll of jewellery with a sample of each piece, and then a zippy folder that's got all the paperwork in, which they can take into work, they can take to friends and family, and then when they're finished with it, they just send it back, and then we refund their deposit. I still think if we can get 10 people within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
You're sure was that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh no, we're committed to it now. We're just going to do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
When Mary and Sonia just do it, they appear to do everything but selling jewellery. Distraction number 1 is a tiara, not designed for models, but for cats.
Go to sleep. Go home now.
Arthur's left with the more mundane but essential tasks, such as getting to grips with the Candy Crystal website on an IT course.
How can you optimise your web page without spending a fortune? Because you can spend, obviously, an awful lot of money and not get the return that you're looking for.
Mary and Sonia are really getting distracted. Not content with jewellery, they're thinking about trying their hand at selling lingerie, and their research has taken them to London's erotica exhibition.
I'm just amazed at how many sort of ordinary people are here. I was a bit worried about coming. I thought it'd be all people, a bit odd, you know, a bit scary.
Mother and daughter have had lots of fun, but it's March, and what I really need is progress on the agency idea for Candy Crystal.
What are these?
And this is something that Sonia has started to put together for our agents that we're hoping to bring on board.
It's a great idea.
We've done some research and found these are probably the nicest quality we can come up with for a reasonable price.
This is for the agents' paperwork. So
That is cool, isn't it?
That's really lovely.
they can have their calculator. Sonia's actually in the process, aren't you, of having the paperwork designed and then printed for us.
We have costed this, and at the moment we are looking at £299 for these items, which is almost cost price.
Yes.
Plus handling and...
Plus the handling, and then obviously the postage and packing.
Agents on
Selling at cost price is a poor way to make a profit. And I also sense another sign that deep down, Mary lacks confidence in her product.
Okay. Word of caution. The hardest thing in the world is to raise prices. The easiest thing is to lower them. If you start low, you will have a riot if you try and raise them later. How many do you think you can cope with?
I think at the moment we're looking at 10.
Okay.
And I think at the end of the year, I think I'm aiming for 100.
I like Sonia. I like Sonia.
If they keep to this, I think it could be a winning formula. Imagine Sonia achieves 100 agents she wants. If each agent brings in £500, that's half the mortgage paid off in one go. It's the week before Mother's Day, a busy time for anyone selling jewellery. And Arthur's taken a week's holiday to man the store at the Harvey Centre on his own.
Try it on. Is your old mum still alive?
No.
Oh. So I can't use that spill then?
No,
it's mother's.
no.
I'm going to have this on my own for all week, so... And that can get a bit chaotic when you've got about 5 or 6 people around there and you're trying to keep an eye on what people are picking up.
The reason why Arthur's working alone is because, you've guessed it, Mary's found another interest. This time it's an alternative therapy course in France.
I'm packing to go to Montpellier. I'm going tomorrow, and I'm going to do my master's, Reiki master. So I've got 5 days out there. It will only be helping to pay off the mortgage in a small way, having the Reiki masters, but it's just another means of actually earning money, and you can earn more money by actually helping people and teaching people to become Reiki practitioners.
Of course I'll miss Mary. She's not standing around here, is she?
I'm not convinced by Mary's argument. As far as I can see, she's neglecting the budget and the agency in favour of learning an alternative therapy with limited financial potential.
So as we breathe in, it's like a waterfall, a fountain moving upwards and down.
3 days into the holiday, and she isn't convinced either.
I feel some anxiety that I can't quite pinpoint, that I need to think through. But that's not spoiling what I'm doing here now. I feel really, it's great, and I'm really enjoying being here. I feel it's positive.
Breathing in is up, and breathing out is down.
But I think because Arthur's been left behind doing the jewellery, it's left me feeling more anxious than I thought it would. I do still feel a bit guilty because I've left him behind working and I'm here, and he'd love to be here.
While Mary's fretting in France, building work on their luxury Egyptian villas burning a hole in their pocket. And back in the UK, Arthur's morale has hit the rocks. A colleague from the print works off sick with a long-term illness, which means Arthur has to fill in with a punishing round of night shifts.
Unfortunately, there's no way out of it. So I'm not very happy, and Mary's getting on to me because she's not very happy. So it's something we could have done with it at this point in time.
It's April of year 2, and the agency should be up and running by now. Mary may be the ideas machine, but with Arthur working such long hours, she's started to worry and progress has stalled.
Arthur's just gone off to work. He's doing nights tonight. Yesterday he went off to work after doing 2 days, so he got up. Bearing in mind he's doing 12-hour shifts, a couple of hours driving, that's 14 hours. Bit of time for eating, and he had to go back to work all through the night, 12-hour shift. So he worked 24 hours without any sleep at all.
Her worry is made worse by a seasonal downturn in jewellery sales. With nothing selling, the stall at the Harvey Centre stands abandoned.
We went back to it just prior to Mother's Day, and we were doing quite nicely on with sales, but since then it's gone absolutely flat. But we are probably at our lowest ebb.
Unfortunately, I can't help Arthur with his fatigue, but I can help them rebuild their sales.
Let's start from the very top. Do you still believe a jewellery business is viable?
Yeah, it could be.
No, not to raise that amount of money in the period of time we've got.
Oh no, the time scale
That is what
short.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's where we've got to start, really.
That's where we are at the moment.
And I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it in what you're saying. The real issue is here, is what I'm hearing, is how are we in the right business that's going to deliver us what we need by the end of the year?
If we are rejecting doing it by the Harvey Centre and Harvey Centre lookalikes, we've only got one option left at the moment, and that is the agents.
Is it feasible to take your energies away from the Harvey Centre, to get a quick trial of an agent, someone who's giving you the impression that they're really up for this?
Are you going to give it one more try?
Well, I haven't given up.
Come
no,
on.
you're getting down. You are
getting down. You're the energy.
Yeah.
You're the light force that keeps
I
this
suppose
going.
that's the trouble, and I feel like I haven't got the energy.
Come on. You can do this. You can do this.
And, I mean, tonight there's just such a list of things to do.
Of course there is.
What, only dinner?
I'm not having dinner. I haven't even had lunch.
Some of the people wanting to become agents don't even live in Britain. One's an expat living in Holland. Arthur's arranged to give him a consignment of jewellery at Stansted Airport.
Hey. Hello, Lynn. How are you?
How you
nice
doing,
to meet
mate?
you. Yeah, fine. Yourself?
Yeah, great.
Take a seat.
Nice
Take
to
a seat.
see you again.
Yeah, you too.
In here.
Okay. That's everything.
Arthur even uses his recent experience to dish out some friendly advice.
The jewellery industry is inherently quiet up to this point anyway. It's like from September onwards, that's when you've got to make your killing. You know. And then immediately after Christmas, it's going to go dead again. Try, every time you do a party, try to get at least 2, preferably 3 names from people that they
want to do it.
Yeah. Because the problem with this is it can die off.
Mary's also making progress. She's trialling another agent, and it's someone she really trusts.
And thanks, Anna, for letting me come, and thanks for becoming our very first Candy Crystal agent. And this is what we call our burlesque range. Do you all know what burlesque is? It's like sort of posh stripping. Try it on and just have fun with it. And any questions, just ask Anna or myself.
You see, Anna's not just Mary's spiritual holiday companion. She's also the veteran of makeup, perfume and kitchenware parties.
A bit nervous, I haven't done one for a while, and obviously it's a whole new product that I'm selling, but yeah, it's good. I think we'll do well tonight.
I like it. It's really nice. There are like some things that a bit big. It's really nice. I like the rings as well.
It's different as well from the things you get in the shops.
Yeah.
I like these. They're not too sparkly. Very pretty. Very nice.
Anna's friends are putting their money where their mouths are. This is just the boost Mary needs. £500 in sales in just one night.
Anna's done really, really well. Yeah, she's got a whole list of orders. I think she'd got about £260 worth of orders from people that are not here. So that was brilliant. And then the people that came have enjoyed it. And we've got 2 parties booked out of it, so it's good.
£500 in takings is great, but that's not all profit. They need to work out their profit margins, and therein lies a problem which I've had since the beginning. They're not good at keeping their accounts up to date. It's July of their final year, but I've only just been given their figures for April. In that month they took nearly £1,400 in sales. Stock and costs came to nearly £1,200, so their profit was barely £200, which works out as a markup of just 6%. I've warned them about being too generous before, but this is ridiculous.
There's 2 bits I want you to take on board, and they're going to be key to your success or not. Make a routine out of your figures. Without figures, we can't manage.
No.
We're blundering around in the dark, and we're just heading towards the rapids.
Yes.
If we can get the figures, and you raise the prices, I think we're going to be there or thereabouts.
I don't know why it is. I've always found it difficult to justify cost. I did when I was doing my massage business. I undercharged, and I did when I did the cleaning business. I don't know why.
Mary,
I find it hard
Mary,
to.
you're not unique. It's a British thing.
Maybe.
We find money vulgar. But if you want to make money,
you've
got to charge for your services.
You've got to be realistic.
This is as firm as I'm going to get with you, because we've got 6 months to go. And we've got the big Christmas period. Getting the prices right now could be just about in time for the big push. So let's not be shy. Don't think about it. Don't agonise over it. And Mary, don't argue about it.
No, I won't.
I just want you to do this.
I've given them a week to raise their prices by 20%. Arthur decides to use some of that time to make money in other ways. His beloved boat's been on the market for nearly a year, and at last, Arthur has a potential buyer.
Go ahead.
Although I suspect his no haggle policy suggests that he's half hoping that he won't buy.
Nothing structurally wrong with it, really, just a bit of discoloration. To be honest with you, if you think you're going to start haggling, I won't. Yeah?
Take it.
You take it?
Yeah.
Good. You don't have to make your mind up now and think about it, and let me know.
Arthur's bluff is called.
I think I would commit now.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Arthur may have lost his pride and joy, but he's just put £2,500 in the bank. And there's still £4,100 to be made if the car finally sells. So with 6 months to go, the car and the boat could pay off £6,600 of Arthur and Mary's total debt of £105,000. That's £4,500 from year one savings. This year they're still struggling with the budget, but they now have jewellery stock with a retail value of £27,000. If they do as I say and raise prices by 20%, that rises to £34,000. The Christmas challenge would be to sell it twice over, and for the remainder, well, they could always try that budget. The week is up. I need to find out if they've accepted my challenge and raised their prices.
How's the pricing on the jewellery going?
Well, we've done a spreadsheet now which shows all the percentages on each item. Sonia's been through it and upgraded all the prices to the percentages that we discussed.
Excellent. Now let's just see what happens. Fingers crossed, it flies.
As Mary normally does, she walks around the jewellery shops, saw 1 or 2 items as identical to what we are selling, and you are absolutely right, they were being sold for 3 times the price, basically, to what we're selling at. So I think
you've made an old man very happy.
Proved to Mary that the market can stand it, no doubt about it.
I'm really excited, Arthur. Really well done.
You're really excited. Great.
I'm really excited. Because we're getting close to Christmas, and it's the big one, and with the prices set at the right level, we got a chance.
It's late summer, and Arthur and Mary should be finding agents and laying the foundations for the Christmas push. But Mary has other ideas.
Over the past few months, we've sort of changed direction a few times. As we worked with the jewellery, we realised, obviously, because it is seasonal, that we need to do other things. We'd already decided, because of like the family history with cancer, etc., to do something in conjunction with a charity. And thinking about it logically, that also gives us a way of selling the jewellery through the 12 months of the year. Even though we're making a tiny bit, the majority will go to the charity.
Cue another distraction. Their big idea is to hold a charity fashion show. I love her sentiments, but it'll be a major distraction from the job of paying off their mortgage by the end of the year.
I know we need to generate sales, but what we wanted to do was, we felt we've got a strong brand image, and we want to get it out there so that people know about Candy Crystal.
Okay, you've thought this through and it makes sense. What's your view of that?
It makes sense if we've got enough time, if we've got enough energy, if we've got enough drive, as well as the financial controls over what we're spending.
Yes.
Because this could run away and it could wipe everything out.
All of that I buy. The challenge is that we're 6 months away from the end of the year. I just wonder whether you want to do that this side of Christmas.
I mean, if I put the proposition to you, if we said to you this is going to cost us not one penny, and it's not going to deflect us from what we're doing at the moment, your answer would be, go ahead, do it.
With one rider question.
Right.
It will cost you loads, no matter how you position it, because it's costing the two of you your time, your thinking, your care, your positioning and your drive over getting to the finishing line for this December.
We're not going to just push it for the sake of pushing
I'm saying we've got a window of opportunity for a big decision.
We haven't
register my concern.
Yes, definitely.
Because my vote is absolutely sales, sales, sales.
The fashion show's a really good idea, but the timing's all wrong. I've said my piece, the decision is theirs. Mary's idea for the fashion show is linked to her latest new interest, an old form of entertainment that's enjoying a revival in London.
Okay, 1, 2, 3!
This type of entertainment's called burlesque, and to say the least, it's revealing. Arthur and Mary have another craze to pursue.
I thought it was really, really professional.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
it was
I know.
wonderful. Such entertainment. I think it's going to sweep the world.
Yeah.
We'll have to go back.
Yeah. Well, I've had about a week to get over it.
Burlesque is so flamboyant, and we think it just fits our jewellery and fits the idea of a fashion show beautifully, especially maybe coming up towards Christmas, and would give the opportunity to work with people who are excited and committed about it. I just hope that we can prove René wrong and that we have got the energy to do all this, but I think we'll enjoy it anyway.
A Clapham eatery's chosen to wine and dine the movers and shakers of the burlesque world, who'll help find performers and a venue for their fashion show.
Just need to choose the venue.
Yeah, once the venue's in place, that's it really.
Yeah,
I've got no worries about getting press and people there, and I think we'll talk together about the kind of sort of people you want to come, whether it be celebrities or whoever. And
After lunch, a look at one of several potential venues. The surroundings bring out all the usual Hollyman's enthusiasm.
I love the frontage here, it's beautiful.
Not from Mary this time, but Sonia.
And if we had usherettes, then the usherettes could then usher people to the next thing. There are some nice boys in bird cages, that'd be quite nice. And you have the performers coming down the steps where it could be snowing with a snow machine. Pedestrian crossing across here we could put up. So it's manned by, so it's not like an official one. Actually a marquee that actually goes across the road, like a tunnel. The taxis are like hijacked on the way by these gangster type people with like the big machine guns with the...
Bugsy Malone.
You seem to be forgetting that. This has got to be done realistically.
With Sonia and Mary's ideas machine in overdrive, the man with the full-time job's left with the practical side of the operation.
Sometimes I think we've got too many ideas. It means we keep going off at tangents and don't concentrate maybe on what the main thing should be.
Sonia's imagination is running riot. Mary's getting distracted, and Arthur even admits that they're going off at a tangent. But fortunately, they've found some time for the agency. I just hope it's not too little, too late.
I'm afraid that it might be. With just 3 months before the Christmas rush, they've decided to advertise for agents in a local business directory.
You're obviously looking for people that, as distributors for this. How is that? Is that a party plan basis, or?
Yes, on a party plan agents.
Do people have to have a starter kit from you, or how does that start?
Yes. The starter kit would be something very, very similar to this.
We will help them with marketing, so we give them like a party format, and we will help them as well, so we'll come along and do the first couple of parties with them.
I think they'll be coming one.
Good on you.
He may be laughing, but the truth is Arthur's exhausted. There's been no let up in the night shifts at the printworks.
I do 2 12-hour shifts and then 2 12 night shifts. And when you come out of that, you really feel that your brain is wrapped in cotton wool, and for like half a day it's very, very difficult to concentrate on anything and make any sense. And normally when I get out of bed, Mary starts hitting me with, there's a problem with this, and we've got to get that changed on the web page, and we've got to go and pick this up, and we've got to, and it's going in, but it's not registering, and it normally takes me about half a day to get back up to speed again with what we're doing.
It all means that Mary has to go to the next meeting about the fashion show on her own.
Unfortunately, Arthur's got to work today. He would have been here. But he's working, it's the way his shift falls, he can't get out of it, and whatever we decide to do today, he will be happy to go along with.
It turns out there's a problem finding a suitable venue during the busy Christmas period.
We've found that a lot of them have not got the sort of desired dates and the availability that we're after, and the ones that have are tending to be looking for a really kind of high event fee charge.
I hadn't really considered that you're competing with such a lot around that. I mean, it's obvious, but I hadn't really thought about
and
that.
It's also like personal kind of Christmas parties, but corporate events, and I think a post-Christmas event would be more viable, and I just think we're up against the odds as it is, because we're trying to fit something in with Christmas, and as you say, you get so many invitations and so many other options. Maybe February in time for Valentine's, which I think would fit nicely.
It's a shame that it's not going to be when we kind of planned it to be, but I think around Valentine's would be good, and obviously it's still a huge time for buying jewellery.
Obviously I wanted to do it, but I could see over the last few weeks that it just wasn't going to happen. There was too much else going on.
Yeah.
I know Mary's disappointed, but they're right. The fashion show's a great idea, but for next year. This year they need to be thinking about their mortgage, and the best bet remains selling through agents. It's September and only 5 people have been signed up. They have one last roll of the die, the advertisement in the local business directory, but even that is only distributed in one area.
If this was a few months ago, we'd be in a really good position. Now with a few months to go, it's tight.
We haven't got the money to make expensive mistakes. That's basically what's held us back. I'm scared of losing money.
Yes.
I'm scared of losing Arthur's money. I'm really worried and upset now that Arthur's been pulled into this, and it's far too much for him. He hasn't got the energy, he hasn't got the time. He's upstairs, took the computer to work with him last night.
I think the problem is that we chose a subject, jewellery, which is seasonal. This programme started round about Christmas time.
We missed the first Christmas.
We've had basically 2 peaks. One peak went, and that was reasonably successful with the web page. We've got the next one coming up. So we've chosen an industry where you've got 2 goes at it, and those two goes and make £100,000 is not enough.
We also chose
It's not
something
enough.
that we don't know anything about, so we've had to learn.
No, that's got nothing to do with it,
Of course it has, because it's been a learning process of how to run a jewellery company.
A couple of things that I would have liked to have heard here. One, you had a load more agents.
Oh, so would we.
Because that was
Absolutely.
the life. When we spoke
I
3
know.
months ago and 6 months ago,
I know.
the lifeblood was going to be agents.
Yeah. Mm.
Now that's the bit that's holding you really back.
Yeah.
The bit that I think that's been frustrating me, it's not your knowledge and it's not your effort, it's focus. You're easily deflected would be my view. 2 weeks later, Mary receives her first reply.
What time do you normally start your parties? We usually say 7:30 for an 8 o'clock start.
The trouble is, this is their only response.
I could do the Thursday, that would be fine. Shall we do that then? Response has been disappointing to the advertorial, which surprised me, because usually advertorials, well, they're more effective than a straight ad. We've put that in Hoddesdon only, and we didn't get one response. I really don't know why this didn't work, why it didn't generate any interest. I really don't know, and I am surprised.
The Egyptian mortgage dream's on the rocks, but I admire Arthur for still trying. After a year on the market, he's found a buyer for his car, and he needs all the encouragement I can give him.
So Arthur, big day.
Well, it depends how you look at it, René. Big day, sad day, momentous day.
Big day, momentous day.
Yeah. There she is.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy. Without your help, I don't suppose this car will be on the market.
Cheers, great.
Fantastic.
Everything's in the back of the car.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Thanks very
actually.
Even in this dark hour, Arthur has prepared one final joke.
Better take the old son out of that house. Not going to need that.
Should have left it in there.
Well, I'm waiting at the bus stop. Key? When you get. Cheers.
Arthur.
Enjoy it.
Thanks very
Good
much.
man.
I still need to have a firm chat with Arthur about the state of their income and outgoings.
So now if we look at where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
Boat's gone. Car's gone.
Yeah.
You were going to attempt to live on £160 a week, and if you could have done that, you
Yeah.
could have saved 35 grand over 2 years.
Yeah.
How do you think you've done against that?
We are not on that tight budget which we were at that time, which is understandable to a certain extent. And so that is a little bit disappointing. But she's not, she's not gone potty like she used to be. Obviously the disappointing thing is that I can't stand here at this point in time and say to you, we are going to clear that £100,000 mortgage, which is what, the object. So that is disappointing, but I think what we've done has been great.
This is the first time I've heard Arthur admit that the fight to pay off the mortgage isn't going to plan.
This has been a huge strain on Mary and myself, and that for 2 years has been enormous. It's enormously hard work. It's a young person's game.
You think so?
I honestly do feel that, if I was retired and doing this full time, it wouldn't be a problem, and I think we would have been a lot more successful. But trying to fit this in for the few hours that you get, it's just too hard.
You know what I've observed as I've been coming down? The change in your energy. From the early days, when you and Mary just stunned me, the energy you had, and I have felt it change. And change quite significantly. But you're still going.
We're still going, of course, yeah, because we made that commitment.
Well done. I intended to be really firm with Arthur about the budgets, about the bookkeeping, but he was completely drained. He had nothing left. He's given everything.
It's October of their last year, and here's their current financial position. We know they've made £6,600 from the sale of Arthur's boat and the car. Hurrah! Their budget could have saved them £35,000 over the 2 years, but they've managed £12,000. Even though Sonia invested £6,000 in Candy Crystal at the start of year 2, there's currently only £4 grand in the bank. But they do have jewellery stock with a retail value of £45,000. If they can sell it all during the Christmas rush, they can still end up clearing £67,500 towards the mortgage, which is nearly 2/3. After a year of distractions and wasted efforts on lingerie, burlesque dancing, Reiki lessons and charity balls, Arthur and Mary realise what I've been trying to make them accept all along. It's all going to come down to selling jewellery. The lucrative Christmas market is now their last chance. The assault begins with jewellery being displayed in cabinets at 3 different shops.
That'll be saved for yourself. Shut the door. Well done, honey, that looks lovely.
The second part of the assault involves returning to the coalface. Manning stalls at shopping centres.
Oh, bloody hell. Arthur, they've put the lady with the crystal jewellery right next to us. She was going to be downstairs. That is unbelievable.
Mary's response to competitors on the doorstep is to return to old habits.
Where's your necklace? £52.
Right, so make it 50 for here.
She started doing discounts. We're only an hour into 2 months. What's the matter with this girl?
Slowly, the first of the Christmas shoppers emerge.
They're 22, the bracelets. Thank you.
Crikey, £10 in the bank already. Well, there's going to be no stopping us now.
With the April blues long forgotten, Mary's decided to return to the Harvey Centre.
So these are £30, aren't they?
They're 20 each.
Oh, they're 20? Oh dear, I was going to tell 30.
Did you tell her 30?
She's so busy that she's had to rope in a friend to help out.
Can you manage that? And they just wouldn't go in the other way. Tough.
Their jewellery's even been featured in a national newspaper. It won't help Christmas sales, but it bodes well for the company next year.
It's a bit like planting seeds. This is going to take a while to really come to fruition and to make a real difference with the sales. But it's, again, going back to what we thought we needed to do with the company, which was laying a foundation for the company and trying to create an awareness of the Candy Crystal brand.
Arthur's at home crunching numbers and admiring another piece of free publicity, an article about their jewellery on a major internet magazine site.
I mean, it all helps. It may be a little bit too late to make a huge difference, but these are all the little building blocks that we've been desperately trying to put in place to help us promote the company.
Customers are buying in the shopping centre, and the agents are buying too.
This is one of our agents up in Scotland, and yeah, she's done ever so well. I mean, look, here's a little order here for £607.50. I just wish we had like another 50 agents like this, because it would be easy peasy, you know.
If only you had another 50 agents. That's what I've been trying to tell them all year, but their time's up. Now the Christmas rush is over, I've decided to take them to El Gouna in Egypt, the place where 2 years ago this story began.
But before Christmas, you were predicting takings of about 6,000. How did it go?
We totalled 13,000.
Wow.
So if we'd had 2 stores, 2 stands.
Don't say that in front of Rhoda, because that is what is going to hit us with next.
You doubled your prediction. Fantastic.
We did,
well done.
yeah.
Really well done. How do you feel about it?
Relieved, because last time we met you, it was before the Christmas rush, and I must admit we were getting desperate because...
You weren't at your best.
No.
How do you feel now, Mary?
Oh yeah, great. Relieved. Christmas did go better than we thought.
£13,000's fantastic. If they'd been bolder, it could have been so much more. This unfinished villa could have been theirs.
This is what it was all about. It looks spectacular.
Thank you.
You could have paid for this, and here's my little bits of disappointment I've got to share with you.
Go on, then.
If you'd avoided a few of the distractions, the fashion show #1, you said to me it wouldn't distract you, it did distract you. If we'd got the agency going, but most of all, and I'm looking at you, Mary, if you'd believed in yourself the way we believed in you, you could have paid this off. And if I had a magic wand, I would have had you focused on this from the start of the year. Just do your jewellery, be bold, be brave, don't get deflected, and you could have paid this off. How did Christmas this year make you feel?
Good. Good.
Exactly.
Frustrated that it could have been duplicated.
I could wring your neck at sometimes, Mary, because I knew if you gave it a go, you could do it.
I know.
I just knew you could do it. And the only thing that was holding you back was your self-belief.
Yeah.
In actual fact, you'd thought it through. You'd de-risked it. You'd thought about everything that could go wrong 1,000 times. And then you still didn't dive in the pool. And Arthur, one of Arthur's great strengths is he's fully supportive of you. But the weakness in this example was that Arthur would slightly indulge you. I think we'd have a conversation, Arthur and I, and we'd get it. And we'd think, right, we just need to push Mary. And I'd walk away thinking, job well done. I'd come back and you'd frozen again.
Pushing doesn't work with me.
I've noticed that.
You can't push me because
You resist like hell.
I have to be drawn, led.
And do you know what happens? You have to draw you.
I know, and this is probably my weakness.
Through saving and selling their possessions, they raised £18,600. In October, they had just £4,000 in the Candy Crystal account, but Christmas sales made £13,000, a grand total of £35,600. Even if they eventually give Sonia her £6,000 back, they've still paid off 1/3 of their debt.
It's breathtaking, isn't it?
But this experiment isn't just a financial journey, it's a personal one too. Arthur and Mary's odyssey has brought them to a retirement in the resort of Elguna, and it seems it's brought them closer together too.
One thing that this has been fantastic for me, because obviously I wanted Arthur to retire, is it's been a catalyst. It's been the turning point that's enabled me to really stop playing around and talking about it, and to let us drive forward now into this new stage of our life and to retirement. And I think without doing this, I don't think I wouldn't have been ready for it.
No, we would have just Miranda'd on in our own sweet little way, wouldn't we?
Yeah, just like a pair of crickets cricketing away.
Cricket? So I'm going to see cricket.
What are you going to do now?
We have to make our mind up what we're going to do with Candy Crystal, because right from the offset, I said to you I wanted, whatever we generated in these 2 years, I wanted it to carry on. So we have to think, how is this format going to change from this point onwards, because it would be a shame to let it die, because I still think there's a lot of potential there.
One of the things I'd like to say to you is that I've learnt loads working with you. I've learnt so much about relationships, what a partnership really means, about how powerful they are when things are not going so well and when things are going brilliantly. It's been fantastic working with you.
Thank you.
And we've enjoyed your company, René.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your help.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm a great believer that relationships and good experience can come about from hard times, as it were. If we all lived in easy times, you don't build as much from that as when you do have hard times. And we had a strong marriage anyway prior to this, but I do feel that there's lots of pluses and lots of nice things that have come out of it.
Throughout all our married life, Arthur's always been the main breadwinner, and I would spend his money without thinking. And now looking back, I realise how hard he's worked for his money, how really hard. And I wish now that I'd been a little bit more thoughtful. Doing this, the one thing that's come out of that is that I really truly value him, and it's really made me realise what a really sort of super bloke he is.
On next week's programme, the Casey Poole family from Coventry. They're set for a real emotional roller coaster.
I was just crying like a little kid, and that's when it really hit me.
Well, as you can probably tell from my face, it's not good news.
I think you've got something really big here.
But will they pay off their mortgage?
Arthur's always there for me. I knew that anyway, but...
Come back! Come back!